We got one more set to bring you today. It's SCL versus Rival. Rival have secured their land spot. However, they've still got games to play. Will we see them do unusual things, or will we see them play hardcore?
I would like to see them experiment a little bit, because you don't want to reveal like your top strategies.
Exactly.
And if I'm SCL, I would be throwing the whole kitchen sink at Rival here currently. Just go all out.
And we could actually see SCL pick up some wins because of this, right? Because, I mean, at the same time, if Rival do play a little bit unorthodox in terms of picks and bans and things and what they're going to roll with, and we see SCL play standard, maybe, or throw some jank their way as well, we could see some fireworks in this game.
Maybe some early invades coming out. Maybe some unconventional dual lane compositions where you're trying to catch somebody out of position. You know, maybe an aggressive Ymir Purple Pot Vamp Shroud.
Purple Pot Vamp Shroud as well from Ymir? You want to see that?
Yeah, I just want to see that.
You like it in the solo lane too? Well, good play from both of those two teams as well. So, talking about SCL a little bit more, obviously, this lineup hasn't really changed so far this season. They've been at it over and over again at 0-14 so far, but they've still not managed to find wins. What's the biggest issue they've had?
Well, despite being 0-14, the fact that they're still together for so long is very important, because now you're still trying to work out the kinks. Now, obviously, whatever you're doing hasn't been successful, but regardless, we see week after week after week, they're still progressing further and further in their matches, and they were almost able to find some key wins even against Barrage and Rival.
Well, don't forget as well, guys, choose your class for the Tier 5 skin. The voting is still going on right now. You can head over to hrz.io/Odyssey class vote and vote for where you want the next skin to go. What are you voting for, Toli?
What's a Z?
A Z is English for Z.
Ah, okay. So you turned me off.
It's real English, Toli. You know that fake thing that you speak and you all think you speak English? It's not. It's called American.
I'm voting for Warrior, obviously.
Why Warrior? Man, we don't need any more Warrior skins. Go Guardian, guys.
He actually
Go
asked
Guardian.
me, why Warrior?
Why Warrior, man?
Why not?
Because I'm sick of Warriors, man. It's been a Warrior meta forever. Guardian. Guardian for life.
Only if it's Ymir.
No, he's got enough skins.
One more.
It could be anybody else.
No, let's get a Ymir.
What about
tier
Sobek?
5. Sobek? No, that would be all
That's an F dot.
That's an F dot.
That's an F dot. For me, it's Bacchus. Bacchus, Kumbhakana are two that I'd like to see. Well, not even Geb. Geb's on. Athena too. There's so many. Make sure you vote for that. Anyway, picks and bans are ready for this game. Let's see what Guardians we get involved in this one, and hopefully no Warriors. Yeah. I hate Warriors.
I love Warriors,
They're
man.
so dull, man.
Nah.
They're so dull.
No.
You think the Warriors are so much fun?
Yeah.
Why?
You have a big baby running at you full speed.
Yeah, it's so much fun when you're playing any other class than a Warrior. Come on.
Just run at them as a big baby. Just stomping at them.
Well, Rival will be first pick, first ban for this one up against SCL, and I expect to see some fireworks potentially, but standard ban so far with Susano taken off the table. I think that we're still going to see the strong stuff on the console banned out.
More than likely. Ratatasker being taken away from Rival. More than likely. Rapio, not really known for Ratatasker. He's been playing other gods. He's been playing a lot of Fenrir, some Hunbats here and there, some Thors and Alquongs, but not really Ratatasker.
I think Rapio's done very well this season, though, to be fair, for like his initiation into the console league with this team. He's done a very, very good job of helping out Rival's roster, really just find that synergy together and actually get themselves this spot at LAN.
When he plays, he doesn't seem that he has much fear, especially in the early laning phases. During the 2v2s between mid and jungles, if he knows he has the advantage early on, he will not hesitate to go in.
And fear is a really important factor too. If you fear less, it causes a lot less issues. Or it can cause a lot more too, depending on who you're playing with.
That's true.
Are you fearless, Tony?
Only if I'm playing tier.
Only if you're playing. Okay, that was bad. I was going to make that joke too, and I was like, no, I'm going to avoid it. But never mind. Scylla locked in for Rival, so pretty much standard mid laner for them. SCL with the next two picks. Raijin is available alongside Guan Yu and Bacchus, some of the big names that we've seen over in console over and over again.
Would like SCL to hold off on their mid pick for a little bit now, since Scylla was locked in from Rival, going on the way of Atonement, known to play a very well executed Scylla. So SCL, they do have the Guan Yu available, especially with Odin being banned. That would be a good opportunity now more than ever.
Well, let's see what they choose, because they're taking a long time to think this one through, because they've got plenty of opportunity to really try and cause some issues for Rival and have a little bit of fun against them. I'd love a Loki again. I like Loki. Let's go for the full split push comp. Loki, Bastet.
So you like Loki more
Loki,
than...
Bastet, Apollo.
You like Loki more than Warriors?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
What's wrong with
Because I'm a scumbag. Deep down, I am a scumbag.
That's true.
My enjoyment from video gaming is knowing that other people are not having
messing
fun.
with other people?
Yeah. Other people not having fun at my expense is where I enjoy gaming.
So you're that guy in DayZ to like basically create friendships and then take all their gear afterwards.
Yes, yes. I would lead you on a chase and be like, let's go get this loot together, and then murder you.
You're that guy.
I am that guy. Nijar, Sobek for Rival, Bacchus, Fenrir for XL. We're going to get some interesting assassins so far. And the best news, totally, there's not a single warrior so far.
We haven't seen Naja in a while. It was picked a decent amount of times at the beginning of the split, and then teams started to stray away from that once Susanoo was starting to be allowed into gameplay. A lot of teams went back into more mobile gods as well with the Thor. And now with the Naja Scylla combination, that's going to allow Rival to get off some really interesting wombo combo.
Yeah, it's one of the original ones from the old days of past, at least from last year anyway. And I did like how XL drafted so far. They took back as Fenrir to begin with because they know they didn't have to take Raijin with Scylla being locked in already. They could have just hold off on that pick and get something a little bit more dominant for themselves in the other roles.
And more importantly, they picked it up at last before the second banning stages comes out, because that's the exact god that they want to follow up off of the Fenrir and the Bacchus.
Come on, no warriors. That's the dream right now.
I mean, there's still Vamana, there's Tyr, there's Bellona.
No warriors picked. Let's do it.
There's Hercules.
You think of just every warrior name now? Osiris is another warrior
Osiris
if you need that one. Do you need more?
Hercules would be nice here for XL.
Why Hercules?
More displacement.
Just mainly just keep displacing over and over again.
Yeah,
Knockups
or Tyr.
Knockups for days as well as
yeah,
pickups.
basically.
Sol locked in. Still no warriors. Rival, though, probably going to ruin the party right about now.
So you'd rather have a Guardian than a Warrior?
Oh, yeah.
In the solo lane or just like a tier 5 skill?
To control more CC. Oh, both. Both. Anhur, Rival, still doing good things. Still no warrior.
See, my issue with Guardians in the solo lane is that their early laning phases is so slow, with the exception of Ymir.
That's true.
Which is why I love Ymir, because it's just, you could maybe get a kill level 2.
To be fair, Kubakata could get there as well. Damn. Damn.
That's a warrior.
Yeah, it is. Disappointment, man. So, no real change from Rival, though. The squad is still solid here. They've not messed around too much. They still want the wins, clearly, up against XL, because they're still fighting for that first seed at the same time, I suppose. I've not really thought about that, but yeah, still fighting for first seed against Barrage could be influential.
You have to be really close to that. Not going to find a warrior, unfortunately.
Yeah, just one warrior out of 10. That's not too bad.
I mean, Fenrir can be played like a warrior.
I mean, Guardians are played like warriors, too, totally. Anything can be played like a warrior. Remember that. There's two top comms for this one, though. We're going to see Athena and Bacchus, which kind of tells me Athena could be jungle Fenrir solo. Do you expect it? Is it Athena solo?
I would rather put the Athena in the solo lane here, obviously with the global presence, and it's very easy to clear with Athena in the solo lane when you dash through the wave.
Well, you called it. It's going to be the Athena solo lane. Kaajee going to pick that one up for himself, and Rawski will be playing the Bacchus. Meanwhile, Fudge in the jungle for XL will be taking the Fenrir there.
Gonna have the purple pot on the Scylla, trying to match the purple pot on the Raijin, so everything is fair on that side. Both red pots on the junglers for these teams. Trying to spot shenanigans. The only thing I really see so far is the Wrath onto the Bacchus, trying to control early objectives.
Yeah, XL very late out of the base there, because I think a lot of them, there's 4 members of that team with power pot this game by the looks of it. So XL really going for it with these power pots, looking for the early game. And honestly, with the composition they've got here, they do have a strong early game.
Yeah, and they're starting with the left side mid Harpies for XL. They're able to burst this down right away, and with the Wrath on top of Rawski, that should be able to confirm the red quick enough and match the dual lane pace of Rival.
You say that, but Rawski actually used the Wrath on that camp there, so this is going to be a little bit slower than they would have liked to there. He actually used it so early that they're not going to have it for the red buff, which is going to slow them down dramatically now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was intended or what, but normally you want to be able to use that on the red buff, because now if Wrath had more than one target, then I would understand why he would do it onto the left side mid Harpies, but now as a result, there's just a little bit of slow laning phase on the duo side.
Well, they've left Gnome 2v1 over in that solo lane because the rotation from Rapio is already here, and Rapio going to trade out with hi-rez, who's just thunder crashed in, and now hi-rez under a lot of pressure. That was a very good crush and timed from Atonement to allow Rapio to secure it with the sash, but a return damage from XL here. Fudge going to find a kill, and now they're looking for the one onto Atonement 2, who's bravely running for his life. A big root comes through. Fudge is going to potentially die here. He's only one hit from death, and the Archer minions come through for Rival.
Oh my goodness, already 2 kills on the side of Rival and only 1 for XL. You talked about fireworks at the beginning of the game, and here we go already. And Rawski jumping in. He could potentially get turned on, but there is a wave advantage for XL.
There is, and Zenborne actually charged into a minion there, so he takes a lot more poke than he would like to. Headhunter did a good job of slowing things down from XL, though, to make sure they couldn't fully commit onto him. And as you said, 2.5 minutes in, we've already got 3 kills in this game, and a couple of power potions have now gone down on the side of XL.
Now, the issue for the dual lane of XL is because they used the Wrath onto those left side mid harpies, they weren't able to secure their own boars in time. They had to give that up just so they would still have the laning phase control against this Anhur Sobek combination.
Anhur and Sobek quite happy just to sit back now as well. It's one of the old school combos as well here, Toli, of the Anhur Sobek. You know, find a pole, put a wall down, impale them into the wall. GG, well played.
You can also use that wall by accident to prevent the pluck from even. If you mistime it, you could do it too early, and then the pluck would be inefficient.
All in on Zenborne here, who takes a lot of poke. Going to tail whip to buy him a moment to disappear with the charge prey. Stellar Burst was on point, but just a little bit too out of range. Mid lane continued to farm up here. Rapio did take a little bit of a tumble on the Najat earlier on after finding that kill. And Kaajee versus Gnome is pretty much going to be a farm fest in the solo lane.
And also, a rival can potentially take advantage of the fact that the Purification was down on Fudge earlier on, trying to get the kill onto Atonement. So once this Naja hits level 5, you can guarantee that that's going to be their primary focus.
Over in the dual lane, things continuing onwards as Gnome clearing out the wave over here on the Sun Wukong with that monkish skin. That skin looks so evil. Have you seen it?
The green one?
Yeah. See how nasty looking he looks? He looks like Voldemort to an extent. Look at that from mid lane, though. A lot of pressure coming out of the drums of war. I'm a monster from Atonement, though. Will secure one. Mid laners getting a kill each onto the enemy junglers.
Yeah, Rapio using his ultimate. Fudge trying to find the return kill with his ultimate as well, but not able to confirm it. But there was a trade 1-for-1. However, Atonement now level 6 compared to hi-rez at level 5.
And the worst thing is Atonement's got 3 kills on the Scylla already now. Power potion still ticking away. And there's nothing you want to deal with when a Scylla gets ahead like that. The crush damage gets insurmountable because you'll hit a higher level a lot quicker than you expect.
Especially when you have another bursty composition with a Naja on top of that, which especially if he gets anybody into the air.
Well, mid lane continues to farm up again. hi-rez doing what he can as the duo lane from Rival here, able to rotate around for those left-hand harpies here before heading back once more to pick up the farm there. And actually, we're going to see the Sobek. Zenborne's going to swing mid instead and actually helps to secure the right-hand harpies as well.
With only Fudge being here, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Going to get stunned out and rooted, barely able to jump away, forced to brutalize as well. Rapio does not have his ultimate available, but just trying to see if Fudge is going to misstep yet again.
You can see Fudge having to go back to base on that Fenrir one more time. Continues to farm up mid lane, level 6 online for Rapio, and they're swinging into the jungle now because the blue buff has spawned, and poor old Kaajee can't do too much against this invade.
That's the one issue with the Athena. You're going to have to just drop your shield wall and hope the secondary part of it is going to be that beautiful stun, mid-dash, secondary stun coming from Sun Wukong. Nowhere for Kaajee to go. If she used the ultimate earlier, maybe she would escape, but it's a little bit too late.
Maybe, just maybe. Headhunter, though, trying to trade out there up against Drizzi and actually losing out on that one. Drizzi coming out on top more often than not against the Anhur there. And poor old Kaajee, 3v1. That sash from Rapio was just on point.
During the dash of the Athena, just nowhere for Kaajee to go. And then the follow-up coming out of Gnome, beautifully executed by Rival. The blue buff is still available if they wanted to take it. 1v1 in the mid lane. I'm a monster, a little bit off the mark, and now hi-rez is trying to respond. Going to get the taunts, but Purification was used to prevent any sort of follow-up.
Yeah, I think the Purification was wise. That just because they didn't know where the jungler was, I guess, more often than not. He was at the blue buff, though, on that right-hand side. As Thunder crashing away his hi-rez now as he sees Zenborne coming into this lane as well. Right, Elementals are about to spawn as the red buff is now being looked at by Zenborne and Atonement.
And the Purification was also used just so that the ultimate from Raijin wouldn't do enough damage to get the Scylla under the red health threshold. Now she can stay in laning phase and still farm a little bit. She gets the red buff. She's going to help out the back left harpies, and then she'll go back into the mid lane.
And the funny thing is, if you look at the player damage there, you can see the Scylla only 1,500, but with 3 kills to her name, she's not going to be too upset at this stage so far. Rapio, on the other hand, 1, 2, and 3. We just need 4, 5, and 6 to come out from Fudge now just to make a nice little numbers game.
That would be pretty interesting to see, but either way, Rapio in the mid lane, Scylla regrouping, currently looking for something happening going on. Naja having his ultimate available, but without Atonement having the ultimate, it's going to be difficult to try to find a kill here.
I want to keep an eye on XL this game because they have the Wrath on the side of the Bacchus as well. Rawski has picked that one up. They could look for a fast goal for you, but they're just going to be a little bit careful of a Scylla. Instead, though, they're looking for a rotation at Headhunter here, and Headhunter going to get aggressed on. Takes a lot of poke. Good stone follow-up too, and Headhunter fully bursted, but still alive somehow. He will escape back to the safety of his teammates in mid lane as Fenrir, Fudge there looking aggressive as Zenborne, and Zenborne will get out too. So at the end, all of Rival survive, but maybe not the Gold Fury.
Excel looking for the gold here. They do have the Wrath on the Bacchus. Some ultimates were used. Atonement, his ultimate is online, but it's not going to be more than the Wrath. And with this rotation from Gnome, that could be stolen?
Gold Fury goes the way of Excel, but Atonement does pick up Rawski. Still going aggressive as Gnome. He's got support of Rapio coming around the back as well there. Uses the Sun Cloud as the ultimate is popped as well there by hi-rez, but hi-rez gonna juke out the Armor Monster for now, but now fully aggressed on and destroyed. And Rapio does a celebration fireworks ultimate in the sky there because he was already dead.
So with Gold Fury going in the way of Excel, confirmed with the Wrath, Rival respond with a kill, and barely able to escape is Gnome. Not going to try to follow up is Fudge, and on top of that, red buff was taken by Atonement.
Really, really good work from Gnome there just to disengage. The Brutalize did go through confirmed, but then he positioned himself to knock him up on the disengage as well. And that even things up after XL get the Gold Fury. We're back to an even game at 7 minutes in.
Pretty much. Experience and the gold is all even. 7-minute mark currently. Looking at both teams, but it looks like Fudge was trying to force something, but the Bacchus didn't want to follow up.
Just so much fighting going on between these two teams. 8 minutes, sorry, less than 8 minutes, 8 kills as you see Kaajee going to get those right on Harpies there. Gnome needs to position himself back towards his teammates and head back to lane to farm up. Speed buffs are available for the junglers. We'll see if they head around there soon. They should do. Rapio's just coming back from bases. Gnome contesting the fire elementals once more.
Excel needs to be constantly grouped up here. Just have their silence farming. They'll exploit the fact that you have the Athena with the global presence.
And the Athena you've got to watch out for as well, because she's gone for the shoes of the Magi. She's going to be very tanky and have a lot more levels online than you used to. So you'll see a lot more damage come out of this Athena as it goes on. Just keep an eye on her and see if she can find these rotations. Potentially onto Drizzi here on the Sol. If she can ult over there, Anhur could be under a lot of pressure.
And I love the fact that Excel are using the fact that Gold Fury is down to put on pressure into the solo lane. There's no worry about sneaking from Rival.
Well, they both went for the stun at the same time there. Gnome found the transformation Tiger, which meant Rapio did not find the sash to connect with that one too. So instead they're going to just leave the argument and go back to farming up their blues, picking them up for both the solo lanes respectively.
Looking at the Hunters, there's a nice sentry ward underneath, allowing the Soul to spot any sort of rotation coming out of Headhunter. Stellar Burst on the mark against the Anhur, and without the lifesteal, it's going to favor Soul.
Fudge trying to juke out a possible ultimate coming out from Rapio here. Doing a good job of it as well, but just cutting off the options of the whole of Rival. And Gnome will pick up the kill, and Rapio doesn't even have to use the ultimate there, just walks away quite happily. And then the Moonwalk plays from Headhunter. He's OP.
Just shooting backwards, no problem at all. He's been practicing that, you can tell.
Yeah, for sure. He's one of the hardest things in the game to practice too, Tolly.
I was never able to successfully
I'm a
replicate those
Monster
results.
is online, and he's going to dunk down at the right time, and there's nothing at all that can happen from Rawski. He tried to flop perfectly in place, but too little too late. Meanwhile, Headhunter under a lot of pressure, but he's got rotation coming out from Zenborne, but Kaajee's on the way too with the Athena, and Headhunter needs to bravely run away. It's up to Zenborne to try and peel, and what a good job peeling he does.
Zenborne not having the pluck available. It looks like the rotation from Kaajee, he might be a little bit out of position, but he's getting a lot of damage in return to Zenborne.
Rawski coming in with the Bacchus too to support, and the flop is only on the mark on Atonement, but the Intoxicate's better. Belch on 1, Belch on 2, and 3 kills go the way of Excel after a nice little rotation from both the Guardians.
Now the issue is, what does Excel get out of this? They grab the red buff. Can they get anything more off this?
Well, they're trying to at the moment, because you see Fudge going aggressive here against Gnome, forcing him out. With no Gold Fury available, nothing up in the jungle for them to take other than the red buff that Rawski took there, but they will get the back harpies too, so small wins.
And now they're all grouped up in the mid lane. They need to find a way to get this tier 1 tower. They got the Gold Fury earlier on, which is keeping them alive in the game, but this can be a great opportunity for them to just open the door.
Well, they do have the tier 1 tower available now with 3 members still dead for a few more seconds. They're grouped up in the mid lane now, so Excel doing good stuff for themselves. And this is what we kind of expected going into this game. We could see a lot more fighting, a lot of craziness going on in this game. Picks were pretty much standard though.
I mean, you have a Naja Scylla that's very aggressive, and then you, on top of that, you have a Fenrir Raijin.
That's true. That's true.
You're just asking for team fights
non-stop
every time.
And we are in EU, which is a nice change of pace from North America in terms of how fast the games can be sometimes.
In Season 2 SPL, it's just like its style of Europe was basically farm, farm, farm. But in SCL here currently, these European teams just love fighting. I love it.
They love to fight. And that's one of the signs that you see in the EU side of things in the Challenger Cup is all fighting too, because the pros generally, they'll dispersively fight. But over in the console league, different story.
Yeah, you just have to be also to take the smart team fights as well. You don't want to blindly fight whenever it's not necessary. A lot of these SCL teams are doing a good job of recognizing when it's appropriate to fight and when it's appropriate to farm.
Well, the good news is for them there is that Rival did manage to kill the Scylla for the first time this game, but they're also looking to potentially kill Kaajee here as well, who's under pressure and is going to get ult immediately here from Rapio, and Atonement's already there to secure the kill again. Atonement comes back from base and already makes it 7-1 for himself at 11. Oh my god, Scylla's 7-1 at 11 minutes, really?
That's brutal. That's really rough. It looks like SCL were able to get the tier 1 tower in the mid lane. They have really good sentry wards around the Gold Fury, as it is going to come up very soon, so they need to start positioning themselves for that and defend this tier 1 tower.
I just don't know how they're going to do with Scylla. She's already level 12 at this stage of the game. 2 levels over hi-rez in the mid lane, 3 levels over the jungler, and only the solo laner is equal with her right now.
And she's really bursty, finishing off that Bancroft's talent. You have to be so careful. Now, the one thing that they could do potentially is get off a lot of damage onto the Scylla during the Amma monster. Whenever you're using it and you go for the hit, you are immobile for about a second, and that's what SCL needs to exploit.
Well, Gold Fury is being looked at by both teams. Gnome making the rotation over here. Benefit of Kaajee here with teleport as well. He can just go back to farming and ult over and save teleport in case he needs to come over another time as well. So Athena will be able to continue to farm up, and Kaajee could try and catch some of this lead back against Gnome, who's doing a good job over there.
And that's the beauty of having the Athena in the solo lane. You have the double global presence with your ultimate, with your teleport. You could just sit in the lane for whenever you need to, and still never miss out on any farm. Use one global, teleport back into the lane, no problem.
Well, a nice speed buff invade coming out there as well from Rival, just trying to continue things. However, Athena across the way, she has picked up, in terms of relics, she did actually pick up one of the new ones, Thorns here, so using it to reflect some of the damage coming back. But mid lane aggression again, I'm a monster on the mark from Atonement one more time, secures the kill on hi-rez, and Fudge off the mark with that brutalize, but he was looking for the Scylla.
See, it's funny because between hi-rez and Atonement, both of them are trying to ult each other during their ultimates because of their movement speed and capabilities. Now, Scylla actually gains movement speed as long as she's not going for the hit.
Yeah. So she's mobile well.
Whereas hi-rez is slower during the ultimate.
And the funny thing is that obviously immunity comes into play, so you're not going to get taunted or feared when you're in the ultimate from Hammer Monster. So I guess Scylla versus Raijin is definitely a favor of Scylla in the ultimate joust.
It depends if the Raijin is able to hold on to his ultimate and juke out the Scylla ultimate at the same time.
And then return it as well.
That's what the Raijin has to do to try to win that little 1v1 skirmish.
Well, second Gold Fury has spawned. We mentioned it earlier, and you saw SCL just going around there to clear out a couple of wards and get control for themselves for the time being. 10-5 is the scoreline right now. Gold, it's relatively even between the two. Experience looks even at the moment, but Atonement is just getting kill after kill after kill.
Fudge getting rooted. He did not have his purification ready in response to that, so he's going to fall. Beautifully done by the combination of Zenborne and Rapio finding that pick, and they're trying to go for another one. Blind ultimate from Rapio, just a little bit out of range, unfortunately, on hi-rez.
And the health bars of Rival looking a little bit better right now. They could swing around for the Gold Fury, though Rapio's a little bit below on mana. They will find the left-hand Harpies are available here, though, so take those for themselves as well, to give a bit more health back to Rapio and the Bombers. And there's a Meditate, which could have spelled a Gold Fury attempt, but instead, everyone's just going to go back to farming once more.
Well, there's no Wrath on the side of Rival, whereas you always have to worry about Rawski, who can easily belly flop in, use that Wrath for execution. It's 1250 damage. The Atonement doesn't have his ultimate available, so not going to be able to find any sort of contest against that, so you have to be so careful.
So the moment Atonement could set a record here. He could actually get 20 kills in under a 30-minute game here. At the pace he's going
at this
right
pace?
Now. Yeah.
Yeah.
21-0. You down for that? No assists. That's the dream, right? You have no assists and all the kills.
Yeah, not going to have 100% kill participation. Missed out on 2.
Yeah, what a lazy mid laner that is.
Such a lazy mid laner.
Zenborne rotating left, going to pressure Drizzi here, who's already managed to use the Disapparate already. So going to get pulled into the danger zone, which is Anhur, but Headhunter has to be very respectful of how much his health was, and I don't think Drizzi realized it as well as he could. Otherwise, Anhur could have been in a lot more trouble from Zenborne trying to make a play happen.
2 levels behind currently. Does have Soul Eater to potentially sustain through the little bit of burst damage, because it's damage over time from the Soul. You have the Stellar Burst, which is 2 ticks, so the first tick could potentially pop the Soul Eater, and then you also have the Supernova, which is a bunch of ticks. So you do have a little bit more survivability because of that Soul Eater.
Well, SCL have kept themselves even because of the Gold Fury invade, but Rival still trying to put the pressure on by stealing again the buffs in the enemy jungle on the right-hand side. Rapio, now level 14, takes the speed buff and can just rotate back towards the mid lane if he so chooses. His own speed buff already down, so he's always looking for ganks.
And that's what you need to do when you have the Scylla in the mid lane. You need to set her up for some easy kills, and with already 9 kills onto Atonement. I feel like Rapio is doing a great job.
And Headhunter's actually rotating him into Rapio with the blink, going to be off the mark, and instead he's going to go for a wild ride into the tower, and there's the burst damage from hi-rez to secure the kill. But Fudge now under pressure, going to get I'm a monster, but off the mark is Atonement. And now Rawski with Athena coming in tow, going to force back the damage dealers as the Guardian Zenborne trying to pick up a kill in response, but it's Atonement that deals out a lot to those Guardians.
Nice Root Crush combination. Rawski forced to disengage as Soul makes the rotation, forcing Zenborne to disengage as well. The Anhur is through the wall. It's going to allow Drizzi to just kind of wait for the right opportunity. He doesn't want to commit against it slow, going back into the mid lane, trying to stop this triple push coming out of Rival.
A messy fight from both teams there, but only one casualty, which was Rapio, the initial engager of that whole fight. Gnome finally made the rotation over from the solo lane. Could have stayed there, actually, and put more pressure on Kaajee and found that tier 1 tower, but that rotation spells the lane will stand for now in the right-hand side as well.
I love the aggression, however, from Rapio. He looked for the play. You know, he was barely off the mark. Fudge backstepped right in time to prevent being taken into the sky. You know, there would be no follow from Atonement. Unfortunately, I'm a Monster was a little bit off the mark after Zenborne did find that pluck, which would have turned that team fight heavily into Rival's favor.
Heavily indeed.
It would have found the kill, it would have reset, and there would have been a second hit.
Well, less than 17 minutes in, 11-6, 17 kills, and Fudge is actually trying to duel out with Gnome, but being 4 levels down against a warrior is not something you want to be as an assassin right now. Gnome very, very tanky, pretty much core build online for him there.
Having the Jotun's Wrath, trying to finish off that Void Shield more than likely to allow more sort of follow damage, but looking at the it's going to be shifters actually more than likely, because you have 4 mages on the side of Excel.
Right Harpy's being contested here, Rapio versus 2 Guardians at the moment, and it looks like both teams just reset those at the end of the day, but at the moment Gnome is going to get the tier 1 tower on the right hand side because Kaajee's rotation has now been punished. Tier 1 tower finally falls, but Kaajee has already done a lot of work to the tower in response there, so it should be a 1-for-1 trade relatively soon.
And it doesn't matter at this phase of the game, 17.5, that's tier 1 towers in the soul lane, doesn't really matter, especially a warrior versus a guardian.
Well, ult for ult trade in mid lane there. As you saw Rawski set Kaajee up for a dunk, but immediately Rapio disengaged with his ultimate. But with that ultimate being down, Excel, they're grouping up. They want the Gold Fury here. They're going to try and force this.
And with the rotations from both solo laners now, it's going to be very interesting to see as Excel is going to force this. They do have the Wrath available.
Good song comes out onto Atonement, but there's the drums of war sounding Gold Fury. I actually think that went the way of Rival. I'm a monster on mark onto hi-rez, and hi-rez walks straight into Gnome, and Rapio, sorry, I should say, picks up the kill. Rawski now trying to run away, but the Drunken Man will fall down again. Kaajee tries to get some poke damage off onto Atonement, but surrounded by multiple targets to dissuade the issue a little bit more. They find the pluck on the one they wanted, though, which was Drizzi, and going to force his Sanctuary and body block to high heaven.
Nowhere for him to go. Disapparate should buy him enough time as Atonement's getting focused, forced to use the Sanctuary against Fudge, and they're going to use the Ragnarok to confirm the kill. Beautifully done by Fudge.
And Atonement falls down again now for the second time this game. Red buff being invaded now by a Rival as well. We go to the graphs, so you'll see how this game is looking still at 18 minutes in. Gold Fury did get stolen by Rival there, shockingly enough.
Against the Wrath, nonetheless. There was just a lot of grouping up from Excel. They just took too much damage in the process trying to confirm that Gold Fury, and it was a perfectly timed contest from Rival, finding the kills after stealing the Gold Fury.
And I think the call from Excel was pretty good there to actually go for the Gold Fury at that time. I just don't think they had anyone zoning. Kaajee was a little bit late on going out. They tried to draw them in with a taunt, but just a little bit too late. The Gold Fury gets stolen. The team's not in position to fight it. And so at the end of the day, the actual opportunity they had was wasted.
They're just too under level to really try to sneak the Gold Fury in a 5v4 situation. They forced Rapio to ulti away. Rapio was grabbing his own speed buff in the process and then walked on over to the Gold Fury. So more than likely, the next attempt from Excel, they need to be more calculating about it and maybe try to force it in a 5v3 situation at least.
They're still in this one for now, but Rival, they do have this Scylla, and I keep mentioning it because a Scylla that is that fed at this stage of the game is a big issue. The only big news, though, is that if they can kill Atonement, then a lot of the fight that Rival had and the advantages Rival had are kind of fallen off.
It's going to be difficult, though. You're going to have to throw the whole sink at her, basically, and then the rest of Rival is going to be able to follow up, and then you have nothing to defend.
The whole house, basically, right? The sink, the bathtub.
The only thing left will be the basement.
The toilet, the attic. Blink, engage from Rapio. Into the sky he goes, and Atonement will be waiting on the landing with the Armor Monster more than likely. Just a little bit off the mark. Not required, though. Fudge actually picks up Atonement while he was actually trying to channel the ultimate, and that's a very big pick for XL. But Kaajee also picks up Rapio. XL are coming back in this fight, forcing Headhunter to run away too. Gnome trying to keep him busy, but still Headhunter under pressure, and he will go down to Kaajee, but they do trade out one as well.
4 for 2 currently, and with Gnome staying alive, Tier 1 tower is down, so he has no escape, but there's just not much mana on the side of Kaajee to really find the taunt into the Soul Stellar Burst.
Gnome's not scared, still got ultimate available too. There's only 3 mages against him, and obviously with that build that he got there of the build with the magical resistance, he can just stand there and tank it for days.
And with that 2-player advantage, looks like XL trying to get this Tier 1 solo tower. They were looking for the speed buff. Unfortunately for them, as they walked over, it was down, just now respawning. So respawning with a Tier 1 tower is going to allow XL to slowly come back into this game, finding the farm as well. Would love to see them maybe try to go for that speed buff.
Yeah, it was a good little fight coming out from XL there, trying to do what they can. Now, obviously, it was, once again, Rapio that engaged, and I think Rapio just needs to hold the trigger a little bit, because that's twice we've seen him do it now. I love the aggression he's doing in the Naja, like you said, but I think by doing this over and over again, it's allowing XL to counter-engage every time.
And we talked about their one hope is the fact that they can try to burst down Atonement during the Scylla ultimate when she's trying to execute the hit, and that's exactly what happened. She got picked off at the beginning of the team fight, mistiming her ultimate for the reset, but it didn't matter anyway. XL were in a great position to take advantage.
Well, you can see the build coming out from Rapio here, just going for full penetration pretty much as well. Picked up a wing blade for the extra mobility and get away from some of those slows that can come out from most of the gods on the side of XL here. And with the speed buff in tow, can just head into the jungle one more time. No other buffs available, but he may catch Kaajee, who's going very deep into enemy territory.
It's a level 19 Athena, however, with only the Sun Wukong. However, Atonement makes the rotation, so if the Kaajee's going to force the ultimate away and just barely able to escape.
Didn't invest too much on that, but I do like the thorns coming out from Kaajee here. How do you feel about thorns at the moment, Totally?
So the way it was changed from shield, nice attempt from Rapio, just out of range onto Hatter. So the thorns change is basically shield of the underworld of past, except now hunters can lifesteal off of it, which is really nice. I believe the cooldown was changed a little bit as well. I think it was 60 second on shield of the underworld, and now it's about 120 on the side of thorns. So it's still really solid. However, you need to pair up Thorns with Hide of Enemy and Lion just to synergize better with a damage return.
Gotcha. Just get even more damage out potentially from that one. Rapio going to head over to the right side, and Drizzi here under a lot of pressure. No ultimate available for Rapio though, but he's slowing him down enough to actually keep Headhunter in range. But Headhunter's not winning these trades against Sol at all here, and you can see that he's having a bit of a rough time in this line.
They forced out double relics coming out of Drizzi. Could be potentially taken advantage of, as the slow obelisk does force Drizzi to disengage. Rawski has made the rotation, pops the shell, trying to allow Sol to disengage.
But now rotation from XL's coming back too. Hadder's heading here on the Raijin as well, and both teams just eyeing each other up. Two members in base for Rival right now is Fudge in the jungle, getting ulted by Kaajee here, who made the rotation back into it. XL trying to pressure this tier 1 tower on the left-hand side is a full 5-man unit. Rival's damage dealers are on the way back from base one more time. Kaajee going in on Atonement, gets some good poke pressure, and Atonement forced to purify away. He just did not expect the damage coming out from Kaajee or the tankiness either, and Atonement has the back very, very far up. But around the back comes Rapio now on the Najar as well, going to look for cleanup crew onto a potential few targets, and he's going to find Hatters.
And with Hatters going back into the sky, there's not much follow-up as the Scylla wasn't in position. She was very low, so Thunder Crash through the wall. Hatters finding the 1v1 onto Atonement, and now the team fight continues.
And the team fight does continue indeed, and the pressure is on Desert Fury. Connects with one, securing Kaajee, as Hatters also managed to pick up the Atonement earlier on. Meanwhile, Rawski going to get a good belch off and run for his life on the Bacchus, flops away, slowed down for a second by the Impale. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side of things, Gnome is dueling off with Sol at the same time, and Drizzle under a lot of pressure, a lot of burst damage coming out from Gnome. Minions are helping out though. Jingu bang off the mark. Archers not going to help. Drizzle will live. Rawski will die.
And that was about a 3-for-1 exchange. It looked good at the beginning for XL as they were able to find Atonement, but they weren't able to find any other kills.
And now God Fury being looked at by Rival. So over the course of that fight, the tier 1 tower falls on the left-hand side for XL, but Rival answer back with a Gold Fury, and this will continue to extend their golden experience lead.
So off of this Gold Fury, now Rival obviously with a huge advantage coming up at the 24, almost 25-minute mark. They're trying to now transition this over with some tier 1 towers of their own. They lost all 3 of their own tier 1 towers. The mid tower from XL is very low, so that's obviously going to be the next target for Rival, and they're winning these team fights pretty convincingly, I would say, for the most part. Atonement Atonement was picked off early in these last two exchanges, but that's something that Rival can easily change and then start winning again.
I agree. I think Atomoment's just going to be very careful of a Kaajee, of all people. The Athena's just going on him every single time, and with that Void Stone online as well, it's just causing so many issues for him to have to deal with, and the burst damage coming out from the Athena at level 19, it's very, very strong.
It's hard to lock her down too because she has Winged Blade, so even if you slow her, she'll just move faster anyway. You have to lock her down with CC, but if you're going to root the Scylla, if you're going to root the Athena with the Scylla route, then she's going to pop Thorns if she's about to get crushed.
Yep.
So that's even going to be more damage that Atonement has to worry about.
It's just going to be all about positioning here. We'll talk about positioning XL, trying to set up around the Fire Giant here, get some wall coverage in the jungle, and catch somebody on a rotation in there. Zenborne, under a bit of pressure there, but the crush coming out there from Atonement will just dissuade the issue for a moment or two. 25 minutes in, and it's actually Rival on the defense a little bit here as they're being pushed in two lanes.
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. They had a little bit of an advantage earlier on in the game, but they're slowly and surely letting it slip away. Rival doing a good job capitalizing on it. Now, XL are the ones that are positioning themselves very aggressively, trying to get this tier 2 tower on the solo.
No, I'm going to try and swing around, but takes a free bit of poke there as well. Transformations down. hi-rez didn't get hit by the Impale coming out from Headhunter, but the Desert Fury will connect as well as they two trade out. Drizzi going in very deep here, trying to secure that kill. Rawski rather, and Rawski actually gets a good Intoxicate off and good Purification coming out from Headhunter to stop Fudge finding the kill.
Atonement and Hatter's falling, so both mid laners are off the table. Rawski going to get flipped, but not under the tower, so Zenborne just going to kind of wait for another opportunities, whereas more engagements. 1v2 on to the left-hand side as Rapio is going to get taunted into the shield wall. Beautiful disengage from Rapio.
Good sash just to reduce some of that damage coming in from the team, and now it's Rival trying to chase down some members of XL. Transformations connects from Gnome, and Kaajee just trying to duke out a little bit of abilities, but got to watch out for Zenborne, who's actually going to pluck Fudge, and Fudge is under a lot more pressure, going to have to jump away to safety. Big taunt coming out though, as well as the Stellar Burst as well from Drizzi, and Drizzi gets some good poke damage off, but still Kaajee survives, all of XL survive, and still Rival giving chase.
Gnome trying to find the Tiger Stun. It's going to allow the Kaajee basically trying to juke. The Tiger Stun allows the rest of Rival to find the kill. And now with that, it was a 2-for-1 exchange. Both mid laners have respawned. Drizzi is going to fall after the Sanctuary finally wears off. Unless this Disapparate buys him enough time.
It does, but he's going to walk right back into Rapio, who's in mid lane now, and he's looking the wrong direction. But I don't think even Rapio needs to come here, because Headhunter will leap in and secure the kill. Respawns have happened though, and you can see Fudge is back from base. And now he's going to go chasing down Zenborne with the ultimate one more time. Not going to be able to find it. Looking for the Berserker. If he can find one more thing, it'd be great.
Yeah, if he does find the Brutalize, he would have found the kill onto the Sobek. Fudge forced to use the Purification away from the Scylla route, trying to find the Unchained Jump. Rawski trying to bail out the Fenrir and confirms the kill onto Headhunter. Atonement in a lot of trouble. Sanctuary, the Sentinel should allow him to buy enough time. Not able to find that fourth hit is Hatter's.
And now we're going to see the fight continue. And while Hatter's has just had enough, he just stood still like, I've had enough of this. We've just fought for the last 5 minutes constantly, and nobody came out on top. Good news is, speed buffs have just respawned, so both junglers will take a moment to go and buy them.
You know what I just thought of? What if his hands are so sweaty from all those team fights that his controller accidentally fell?
Arms heavy, mom spaghetti? No?
Vomit on the sweater already?
Yeah, it seems that way. So you think he got so sweaty that his hand slipped?
His controller like fell from his hands?
You reckon?
I mean, it's just a random thought that came up to my mind.
It could happen. I mean, has it happened to you with the
I mean, you can't drop a keyboard that's on the desk. But if
true.
you're holding a controller and your like hands are just like randomly sweaty, like it could slip.
That's true. It could happen. That was a
You
crazy
might need to wear
though.
gloves for the SCL.
Mind blown. Players are going to turn up with like Michael Jackson gloves. One glove on one hand just in case it gets a little bit sweaty so they can always grip and hold.
Yeah, you got to have the friction control.
Kaajee, 4 versus 1. He's duking out very nicely and still surviving. Thorns is popped as well. And he's got a little bit of support from that Supernova coming through to give him an exit strategy. But is the exit strategy enough? I don't think so, unless hi-rez can have something to say here. Kaajee still being grouped up on, and they will secure it with Zenborne.
And now with that first pick, the Atonement trying to find Alma Monster is good. Drizzi is going to fall, so it's 2-0 currently for Rival. They find Rawski with a nice plug. Headhunter doing a lot of poke, going to try to chase him down. The Obelisk is not ready quite yet. Root is on the mark, and that's going to be a third.
And that could actually spell a Fire Giant now with 2 of those being down. Rapio on zone duty, going to look for hi-rez, and immediately pops for the extra crit. Sash just off the mark because of the Thunder Crash coming through, and Rapio just creating his own. Not too worried about it. Although he takes a bit of free poke for that, and I think hi-rez recognizes what's going on with the Fire Giant, but he can't get in here. And now Rival, they have an opportunity to just shred down the remaining towers in this game.
They're in a very comfortable lead, currently going into the 30-minute mark with the Fire Giant, about 7, almost 8,000 gold. Only have to get some tier 2 towers between the mid and the solo, and then they can start picking away at these Phoenixes.
Picking away at the tier 2 towers, the first thing I think as they go down mid, Gnome going to tank this one up, force Hadders back once more, and XL recognize that, and even Headhunter's like, no, Gnome, don't go too much further, I want you to continue tanking, please, and just blocks his own teammate.
That's the right Hunter call. That's how you stop the aggression of your soul laner. Imagine he did that during the Tiger Stun.
Have you ever had that happen to you before? People block you off with walls on purpose so you can't keep going aggressive. No, totally stop going aggressive. Oh no, that's not you.
I listen to no one.
You split push all day, don't you?
I listen to no one. Actually, I love to fight.
You do?
Yeah.
All
I actually
the time.
despise split pushing, but I do it like whenever I need to, obviously. But
when the team asks you to, you will.
I'm like, I guess.
Okay.
Like, I guess I'll play Loki this game. I hated playing Loki and Vamana.
Really? What
yeah,
about
because
Ymir?
like I would just Ymir because I would
Just fight.
yeah.
Or fight all day.
And I guess that's kind of why we were able to like really run the triple guardian double hunter, because of the fact that we loved playing guardians as well, the aggressive guardians to make the rotations and just keep forcing team fights.
And guardians are better than warriors. Pretty much the way of it. 24-14 though. Gold Fury goes down. Fire Giant still on the members of the boys of Rival here. And you can see the experience leaders are getting out of insane now. 15,000, 11,000 gold as well. Experience not as important as this game goes on, as everyone is reaching level 20 right about now.
It's going to be very difficult for XL to hold off this push. Now, with the Gold Fury going the way of Rival, this gap between these two teams, XL is going to easily chip away at the tier 1 and tier 2 on the duo side of things. And if they really wanted to slow down the game, they can just transition over to the soul lane for that last tier 2 tower and then wait for the Fire Giant to go again and then secure the game.
We mentioned gap here, but look at the gap in damage from Zenborne. Sorry, Headhunter here. Headhunter's really far down. 9,000 damage on Anhur, and your team's winning. He's just not having the best of games here.
It doesn't really matter, though, because
It's
the
true.
Naja and the Scylla are doing wonders.
Well, there's a big Intoxicate coming out, and Headhunter going to avoid a lot of damage. Hadders, though, can't avoid much more. Thunder crashes into the backline, and Gnome was already waiting for him. Hammer Monster will connect, only with Rawski, who's still alive because of the shell. Meanwhile, the Brutalized goes through from Fudge, looking for the pickup potentially there on the back, but picks up Zenborne instead. Not the target he would have really preferred there. Gnome now looking for Drizzi, and Drizzi under a lot of pressure from Rapio the Sank. But the Sanctuary will keep him alive for a moment as the crush comes out from Atonement, and they will just continue to disengage here, XL.
There's a beautiful 2 picks coming out of Rival, and that's going to allow them to easily get this left side Phoenix, no problem, as they're trying to find some more kills. Drizzi falls, so that's the 3rd. Kaajee a little bit out of position. That's going to be a 4th. Left side Phoenix falling. This could easily be game. Only tier 2 tower stands, so that time is very vulnerable.
And only Fudge, and it looks like Fudge is giving this one up as well. He's just sat in the base. He doesn't want to fall down again. He's already 4-6. Doesn't want to go to 4-7 before the end. Rival will take game 1 against XL with only one more to play today.
Now, Rival going up to 11-4 on their record. XL currently 0-15. Now, Rival, they're still trying to go up into that #1 seed against Barrage. Barrage currently standing at 13-3 currently. So it's going to depend on this next week's matchup between Rival and Barrage of who's going to be that #1 coming out of EU.
Do you expect Rival to win the next game as well? And if they do, it's going to be still close to the top, right?
I would say, the way Rival played that last game, yes, that Rival should be able to control the pace of the game. XL have been looking a little bit weak earlier on. Unfortunately, they've been showing some signs of strength, transitioning away from their early performances of the split, but now it's kind of dipped back down to how they started the season.
Very, very true, and XL really struggled in that game quite a lot, to be fair to them. But at the same time, Rival looked pretty good, aggressive early on. Atonement got off to a flying start with a couple of kills for himself, even though it was all XL that started things off there.
It was just beautiful plays coming out of Rapio. He was doing the wonderful initiation, which set up Atonement. That's what you want to do as a jungler. You set up your mid laner for those kills. At one point, he was 9-1.
I've got